All right, good afternoon. First and foremost, I just want to give a shout out for this cause right here, and Michelle Roberts in our Community Relations Department and all the great work that they do upstairs. So keep up the great work, and go Bills. In terms of the injury report, what we have for you is a bunch of guys that are improving that will be limited today, and Dorian Williams will be out today. But all of them will take on a day-by-day basis at this point for the week. So other than that, the time is yours.
Injured reserve guys, anybody opened up window, that kind of thing?
No.
What is Dorian's issue, Sean?
He has a leg issue.
So, Ed, just to clarify, Ed, Milano, and Spencer Brown all limited to?
Correct.
Hey, Sean, special teams, you always preach it, how important it is. This team you're playing has done a pretty good job with the return game especially.
Yeah.
Just what do you have to do to be prepared for what they can do on special teams?
Yeah, they've built a really explosive roster. They've got a lot of team speed, in particular at the returner position. I think they've got 3 or 4 returns for touchdowns if you include the preseason as well. So very impressed by what they've done, and we're going to have to play a great game on special teams for sure.
And what do you in coverage? What's the key? I mean, is it just lane integrity, or what is the key?
Well, it's never just one element. It's lane issue. Lane issues are important, and then there's where the ball is placed, and the coverage piece as well. So it's never just one issue, but we obviously have to be aware of that, and then make sure that we're ready to go. Like I said.
How much does identity change with a new coach, and how much does it help that you faced Vrabel numerous times over the past 7, 8 years?
Yeah, great coach. They've got a number of good coaches on that staff. A few we know rather well, and Mike's done a great job everywhere he's been. And it's funny going back over the years coaching against him as he was playing in the Super Bowl in 2004. So just it's been interesting to watch his career, and certainly off to a great start there now in terms of getting that thing the way he wants to get it. And I've gone against Josh McDermott for a number of years as well. So very, very talented roster, and a great coaching staff.
Sean, you're obviously familiar with Stephon. How do you see him in this offense, this scheme, and coming off a pretty serious injury?
Yeah, very impressed. Not surprised, but very impressed in terms of how he looks. He looks great. Very few can come off of an injury like that from a timing standpoint, especially that first year, and look the way he looks. So, but I'm not surprised. He's a heck of an athlete, and he works extremely hard.
Sean, well recognized that Cook's usage is up significantly over what's been his first 3 seasons. To what do you account that, and do you have concerns about him sustaining this pace?
Yeah, I think I got asked that question the other day. Everything in moderation, I think, is what's healthy, right? So, you eat eggs. You eat too many eggs, not good. You eat, and so I learned that from one of my best friend's grandfathers growing up. So it's everything in moderation, I think these kids these days, maybe they say 6, 7. I don't know how that goes, So I'm not really sure what that means either. But I got teenage kids, so I try and talk in their language. But no, like I said, we try and do the best we can. He's obviously off to a good start. So there's a delicate balance there, like you said.
Hey, Sean, you only got to see May once really last year in the game
Yeah.
here, but what have you? I mean, they've put some better people around him clearly this year. But what have you seen so far out of him?
Yeah, very impressed. Even last year, as a first-year player in our league, there's probably not much that he can't do. He can throw it, he can run it, he can scramble with it. They've got quarterback design runs, they certainly are off to a great start. He's off to a great start, and I'm sure they feel good about him as an organization as well.
His accuracy, he leads the league in completion percentage.
Yeah, like I said, very effective. Josh McDaniels does a phenomenal job with every quarterback that I've seen him with, and so he's got a great coaching staff behind him and a great supporting cast around him.
Sean, you go through the draft process. Obviously, Brandon and his team are kind of leading the way, but when they tell you, hey, we found a
Yeah, no, that was a good pick for us. It's early, but that was a good pick. You know, he's wired the right way. Football is extremely important to him. You know, and then from there, you know, I think Rob Boers has done a phenomenal job too of developing Jackson and understanding, getting him up to speed as quickly as he has in our system here. So, and then those players, as I mentioned before, the Dawson Knoxes, the Dalton Kincaids, and those around him, around Jackson, have done a great job of, I think, educating Jackson on how this works in our system and kind of the ins and outs of the day-to-day grind.
Speaking of tight ends, what have you seen in the growth process of Dalton Kincaid coming up an inconsistencies and just how it ended in that AFC Championship game, to see what he's done to build his confidence and maybe bulk up, I guess, maybe, you know, this season with what his production was.
Yeah, off to a good start. Again, it's hard to keep hard to keep a winner down, right? And when you're in the arena, you're going to have some mistakes. You're going to have some plays you want back, and I think that's part of being in the arena is you're gonna fall sometimes, and it's how you get back up and how you handle yourself. And he's a winner, and winners handle themselves accordingly, and he's done that. And I'm not surprised that he's off to the start that he's off to, and you know, so it's a credit to his hard work and the work in the weight room with our strength and conditioning coaches, and the training room as well with Nate and his staff, and so it's great to see.
Sean, what can you tell us about your new punter? What you know about it?
I'm going to go out and watch him here, with all due respect. So it's we'll see where it goes, but. Had a nice workout the other day, and honestly, that's all I can tell you at this point. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm anxious to see and excited to see him practice here.
So, one more on James. Can you compare sort of his style and some of the things that he does at an elite level now that maybe he didn't earlier in his career? What those things would be?
I mean, it's an interesting question because James was maybe not the number one at Georgia. I don't want to speak because I don't really know exactly how that was labeled, but when we drafted James, it was, somewhat of the vision was, hey, we feel like he can be good for us in the pass game, and then you turn the tape on, you're going, there's something there, with what his skill set is, and really he's developed a lot too on his own, and that's a mindset from what I see in terms of his goals that he wants and putting in the work to chase his dreams and those goals that he has for himself. And then when you have, those around him helping him from a standpoint of blocking and scheming it up, and what Joe and Coach Cromer have done, and all those on the offensive staff too, and the players around James. I mean, it's like I've said before, in order to run the football well, it takes all 11 guys, but it starts with James in this aspect.
We've seen flashes from Deion Walker making some plays, like the one on Tua and back behind the line. But when you look at the whole thing for a rookie 4 games in, what have you seen? What's impressed you? What's he still got to work on?
Yeah, it's an everyday grind, and that's the hardest thing for these rookies to A, understand, to B, endure, and C, know that they're not alone, right? That those that have come before them or gone before them, they went through the same thing, and it's, you feel it as soon as you feel like you're getting it, you hit a little bit of a bump in the road, and that's how this league's gonna test them, and we're seeing growth, and that's a positive, and you got to celebrate that as well, and so it's there's a long road ahead of us here yet, but they're Deion, TJ, and the other young players that are playing. We need everybody because it is a long season.
John, how did you come out of the game with your special teams, the changes you made to return, at least for the one game? I mean, what did you think about that? Is Codrington back in the mix, or?
Yeah, we'll see.
that playing out?
No, yeah, we're going to look at it today, see how it goes. I think anything and everything right now is up in the air in terms of where we'll go with it.
Sean, when you said that about the rookies, not specifically to Deion, but I'm sure you tell them, and I'm sure that other people tell them, but do they really have to experience it to get that part, or is that kind of of normal, they think they get it until they're actually in it?
Yeah. We talk a lot as a staff, coaching staff, Brandon, myself, his staff, our development staff, really the entire organization, about how we can onboard these players the right way as quickly as possible. This world over here that happens before they get to us is, as we all know, it's changing, and it's changing drastically. And so there's a lot of, talk out there about how it's night and day compared to what goes on at this level. And it seems like it's more and more with the transfer portal, NIL. So I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it's different. And it's unfortunate, in my opinion, that some of these guys have to grow up in that. Because I don't think they're really being taught true life skills, to be honest with you. So that's part of the onboarding process. And yeah, and then to your question exactly, it's until you go through your first year, you haven't really gone through it. You think but you don't know. And I mean, 20-some plus years in this league for many of us, it's almost undefeated in that way. So.
Coach Drake May has been the best quarterback in the league on third down through the first month of the season. Obviously, you prepare for third down every week, but when you see a quarterback that efficient, that effective, does it prompt you to spend even more time?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Obvious answer is yes. He's really good, and like I said, Josh McDaniels, this isn't his first go around. He had a great chance to sit out last year and just kind of study, and he's got a great coach on his hip right there, and he's being taught well, and like I said, he's got good supporting cast around him. So they're doing a really good job of taking a young quarterback and bringing him along the right way.
Sean, Bobby said a couple days ago that there was a challenge, that's the word he used, with Greg Rousseau last week after the start that maybe wasn't what everybody wanted. How is that conversation different for a guy who's been productive, who's been consistent, who's been dependable, who's been paid, as opposed to a younger guy who hasn't been all those things?
Well, you coach each player. You want to be as consistent as possible and from player to player. But coaching each player is a little bit different because of the situation they may be in. And for some of them, like Greg, trust has been built up over the number of years he's been here. But everybody needs reminders once in a while. You've got to be able. It's kind of like going back to conversation about players before they get here. We coach them. So, and that means we love them, and that means we tell them the truth, and that's important in terms of growth. And so I don't think it's anything fancy or whatever, but it's just, if there's an area that we need to improve, then we need to address that area. And that's what we try and do, even same with a young player. But the trust that Greg has built, I would say, is a little bit different than maybe a rookie coming in. So they're two different situations.
Sean, how do you view the excitement of matching your #1 rushing offense against the Patriots' #2 rushing defense?
My excitement with that? Yeah. Coach Vrabel does a great job on the defensive side, and he does a great job of having those guys ready. And they always play like he played, very physical, and we know that. And so it's whenever you go against one of his defenses, you got to make sure you bring that part of your game. Thanks, guys.